Today is the second official day of the Trump-triggered government shutdown, and it's been a bad day indeed for Trump Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, even in friendly territory. Earlier today, she was interviewed by Fox News, and it went so disastrously that even one of the MAGA Fox hosts questioning her called her out for a lie on live TV. And in her visible panic, she actually overcorrected and publicly revealed that Donald Trump is serious about using government pressure to punish blue cities, blue states, and Democratic constituents, his own constituents, to try to force Democratic lawmakers to bend the knee. It was shockingly terrible, even by Leavitt standards. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we got a couple of clips to play here, starting with this one in which, again, Leavitt was called out by MAGA Fox News host Dana Perino for the Trump administration basically lying on Fox News about the military.
Very soon, the American people and their constituents back home in states from New Hampshire to Nevada to Arizona to Florida are going to start feeling the pinch of this Democrat-led shutdown. We have millions of troops who are currently going without pay. We have women, children, and infants who cannot apply for a very important WIC program for that critical food and life assistance. And you also look at air traffic controllers who are now having to work without pay. These are critical consequences, and it's the Democrats' fault, and they have a chance to reverse course, and they should.
Somebody earlier on our program said that Russell Vought went ahead and signed off so that every military member does get pay, but are you saying that they're working now without?
Well, we are certainly looking into how we can fix this problem. And look, we have $0 coming into the federal government right now because the Democrats shut it down. So what Russ Vought is working diligently on is examining how we can fix this mess to ensure that critical funding continues, that we can get people paid. But the Democrats are making that very difficult. And that's why the president put out a statement this morning saying that we're going to start looking across the board at layoffs and at agencies that we feel do not best serve the American taxpayer, that may need to be halted or permanently cut.
So again, listen, I give Karoline Leavitt credit. I think she's awful. I think she's a terrible person, and I think she uses her talent for nefarious ends. But I give her credit because she's been the best. She's been the most capable of the Trump press secretary. She's pretty quick on her feet, and you can see and hear the panic in her voice when Dana Perino's like, wait a minute. The Trump administration actually came on earlier today on Fox News and said, hey, Russ Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, he's so goddamn good that he was able to sign off on paying the United States military. The military doesn't have to worry about it because Donald Trump and Russ Vought are just so damn good and they're so patriotic and they love the military so much. Well, now you're saying that military pay is in jeopardy, that the military is not being paid. So the Trump administration has two different stories. What's up with that, Karoline? Well, Russ Vaught's definitely, he's working on it, but the Democrats, like, they're so terrible. Okay. You know how bad it has to be for Dana Perino, who, by the way, used to be a press secretary herself. Dana Perino was a press secretary for President Bush, one of many. And so it's funny that you have these two MAGA blondes who also at one point were press secretaries, and even Perino's like, girl, get your story straight. Get your story straight, because you're using the military as a political football, and your position on it just depends on what you think is good. If you think it's beneficial to say, hey, the Trump administration has the military's back even during a government shutdown, we're so good that we're able to make sure they get paid, then you do it. You say that for your political benefit. But then if it's for your political benefit to say, oh, the poor troops, damn, the Democrats are screwing them over, you guys say that too. So which one is it? Because they're mutually exclusive. And you can tell Leavitt was just caught totally off guard and forced to filibuster. Now, I'll say this as a reminder. Donald Trump needs Democratic votes to keep the government open. And when you need something from somebody, you're obligated to negotiate. And again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think Democrats are entitled to the entire farm, even though I'd love for that to be the case because, I think Trump is an authoritarian. The Republican Party is a cult of personality, but I don't expect that because Republicans are in control of government. But you got to give the Democrats something. And Trump is refusing to do so. This is a Trump-triggered government shutdown. And it's not something that we experienced under the Biden administration because the Biden administration was willing to negotiate with the Democratic minority or with the Republican minority when the Republicans had advantage and leverage. Okay, I digress. So in her overcorrection, she even said at the end, we're going to start targeting things that we don't think work well for the American people. So she's trying to compensate. and she's overcompensating. You'll see it here in the continuation of this clip.
Because he mentioned Russ Vought in that. I think that came out about 8 o'clock this morning, about cutting certain programs that they deem are not necessary. Is that real, or is that a negotiating tactic?
Oh, it's very real. And the Democrats should know that they put the White House and the president in this position. And if they don't want further harm on their constituents back home, then they need to reopen the government. It's very simple. Pass the clean continuing resolution, and all of this goes away. We would not be having these discussions here at the White House today if not for the Democrats voting to shut the government down. This is an unfortunate consequence, and the president and Russ Vought will be meeting on that later today.
So we'll talk about that in a separate video. But in Trump's tweet or truth that they're referencing, and again, these are MAGA Fox News hosts, so they don't put it quite as bluntly and quite as honestly as Trump did. Trump is like, hey, these are Democratic agencies, Democratic benefits, so we're going to have to start cutting them. He makes the threat explicitly clear. Bill Hemmer and Dana Perino try to sanitize it somewhat so it doesn't look so cartoonishly villainous, I should say. Karoline Leavitt doubles down. She overcorrects. She's like, yeah, it's very real. And if Democrats don't want us to hurt their constituents, if they don't want us to hurt their people, then they better come here and bend the knee. You heard the threat explicitly. It's not a bluff. It's a threat. We are hurting Democratic voters, constituents, blue cities and blue states. We're doing it surgically and precisely in order to try to force Democrats to roll over for Donald Trump. It's sick. It's nefarious. That how mask off they are. And then again, that comes from Bill Hemmer and Dana Perino. That comes despite them trying to sanitize and launder it somewhat for Karoline Leavitt. And she's like, no, screw that. I want to be as explicit and cruel as possible. And it's incredibly dangerous and it's incredibly gross that this is where we are. It speaks to the mafia-like quality of the Trump administration, where they use, because remember, the Trump administration, that's a national office. They're supposed to serve the American people, including Democrats, including liberals and progressives, including people who loathe the Trump administration, just like the Biden administration was obligated to do the same for Republicans, conservatives, and others, right? Obviously, there's a partisan bent depending on who wins the White House. It's a Democratic agenda, a Republican agenda, but you're still supposed to try to help people that don't like you and didn't vote for you. The Trump administration is saying, oh, to hell with that. We're going to squeeze blue cities, blue states. We're going to target not just Democratic lawmakers, but their damn constituents, American citizens whom we're supposed to serve in order to extract leverage. It's a ruthlessness the likes of which we've simply never seen from the Democratic Party. And Karoline Leavitt just gave that disastrous performance on Fox News. I mean, again, what it is, and we'll probably talk about this in a separate video too, the polling on this, at least right now, could change. But right now, the polling on this is atrocious for the Trump administration and the Republican Party. In every public-facing poll, Donald Trump and congressional Republicans are getting substantially more blame for the government shutdown than Democrats, as was the case before the shutdown happened, leading up to it. People were like, hey, if a shutdown happens, we're going to blame Trump and Republicans. Now, 2 days in, the polls are showing the same thing. They're blaming Trump and the Republicans more than the Democrats. And so that, I think, is so much the source of Leavitt's panic and Trump's panic over this. And when they get panicked, they get even more cartoonishly evil and villainous. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.